Okay, welcome. Good morning, California. Today I have Shay, Hata, and Matt Richling with them. I'm going to introduce them in a moment. My name is Dave Crumby. I am the CEO of Realvolve and Firepoint. Today we are going to talk about systems and habits of winning teams and agents. And a quick description, success doesn't come from doing something great once. It comes from doing good things over and over again. So in this webinar, we have two realtors at the top of their game, and they're going to share systems and habits that have gained them massive success. So what we're going to want to uncover is what small steps get big results, and what should you do every single day? What should you stop doing to create a multi-million-dollar business for your team? So we're going to dive into those questions and give you those strategies that you can implement today. But first, I want to introduce to you Shay and Matt. Shay Hata is an Ivy League grad. She is a mom, a residential realtor in Chicago, Illinois with Berkshire Hathaway. She moved to Chicago in 2012 and jumped into real estate in a brand new city. She didn't know anyone. It sounds familiar. By her third year in the business, she was averaging more than $30 million a year in business solely through client referrals. So fast forward 9 years later, she now has a small team consisting of 2 other agents and 4 assistants. In 2020, Shay's husband, Nobu Hata, who used to be with NAR, became the CEO of Denver Metro Association of Realtors. So Shay moved to Denver and now runs her team in Chicago remotely while living in Denver. I think we'd all like to do something like that. She is extremely passionate about animal rescue, as well as making sure every child has access to quality education, and therefore donates a portion of each commission to local animal rescues and local schools. Welcome, Shay.
Thanks. I'm super excited to be here with you all today.
And Matt Richling. Matt is the founder of New Purveyors, a group of real estate agents focused on providing a better consumer experience when moving or investing in the city of Ottawa, Canada. So growing up in a rolling farm fields outside of Ottawa, Matt repeatedly dreamed of the big city lifestyle and all it has to offer. So now he is diligently helped others find their perfect lifestyle home. Being a licensed realtor for 15 years, Matt is the recipient of multiple RE/MAX career and sales awards. He's also serves as a volunteer on multiple committees in the Ottawa Real Estate Board, and he is an Inman News ambassador. Matt has a strong focus in customer service, wrapped in a passion for marketing and an unrivaled execution of the consumer experience. As a talented negotiator, Matt continues to pursue perfection, only outmatched by his twin daughters. I have twins too, Matt. Talk about dealing with multiples. Matt is also an advocate for inclusivity and affordable housing. So let's first get to know you two. Shay, how long have you been in business?
Sure. I have been in business, gosh, what years is 2021? 9 years now. So, moved to Chicago where I didn't know a single person, didn't know anything about real estate, kind of jumped in with 2 feet. And now here I am running a business from a totally different town. So it's an interesting industry to be in.
Yeah. How would you describe the overall structure of your business?
Sure. So a couple of things to know about us. So I started off as a solo agent. So I'm going to be giving lots of tips for people who are solo agents, and then eventually transitioned into a team several years later. So now I have a small team. So it's myself. I have a buyer's agent, a listing agent, and then we have 4 admins who help us. They all work part-time. So we have about 50 hours of admin help a week. Last year, we did about 56 million in volume. This year, we've done 35 million in volume so far this year. So we're obviously way up. And as you said, I run the team completely remotely. I go back maybe once a quarter for a couple of days.
Wow, that is amazing. Matt, same questions for you. How long have you been in business, and how would you describe the structure of your team?
Yeah, thanks. So I've been in the business for about 15 years now. Most of that was as a solo agent as well, just really learning the ropes. And we've basically developed the team over the last couple. We just brought on 2 additional team members. So we now are 4 team members with 1 admin. Last year, we did about 75 transactions with just the 2 of us. and growing from there. So yeah.
Well, let's stick with you, Matt. I've been enjoying getting to know you, and I think just talking about some of the foundational life habits you've put into place, I think is helpful in setting the stage, because it really ties into everything strategically and tactically and how you operate both of your businesses. So if you wouldn't mind sharing, what are some of those habits that you hold near and dear to?
Yeah. So really for me, I think some of the stuff that when we look at what are like the basic habits, I found that my foundation is just built around being in the office or being here at a pretty much a similar time almost every single day. That one for me was really something that I really kept going, especially through COVID. We were locked down pretty hard where I did have to work from home, and I had to be the main caregiver. While my partner was at the office, or actually at her clinic. But at the end of the day, it was really just showing up and doing the work, showing up and doing the work, showing up and doing the work every single day, repeatedly. That one for us was one of the big ones. But recently, I think COVID saw a lot of bad habits come out for a lot of people, right? We got to work from home. We got to wear no pants. We got to, maybe have a few drinks in the day. We got to drink a lot more. We got to continue drinking a lot more. And we let a lot of bad habits really, really kick in. And so that was one of the big things that we started doing, was really cutting down on alcohol. Before COVID, we used to love entertaining, going out, dinners, everything, and really getting focused on being a better version of who I could be. That was really a huge thing that's helped us in the last bit.
When did you adopt those habits? I'm just curious, because it's easy for a lot of people, myself included, to have the best intentions. We know what we're supposed to do. We know what we're supposed to avoid. How have you made those habits stick?
Repetition. Right? Short term, day by day. Like everything. I always feel like everything I say sounds so corny, or a lot of things a coach will say sound so corny. Right? Just think of the next hour. Just think of today. But those are the things that help you get through. Right? Well, no, I don't need to just have a beer because I'm headed home, or no, I don't need to drink a whole bottle of wine because it's we're having dinner with virtually over Zoom. Like it's these things you just go day by day, one step at a time, or one day at a time, right? You wake up in the morning, you don't really feel like going to the office. Like it's just those little battles every single day that just can keep compounding and compounding.
Yeah. What are some of the wins? I know when I did something similarly, just the impact it had on my energy level, and be able to face the obstacles that come in every day of the week. And we all know that real estate can be a roller coaster at times. Did you find that increased your energy and allowed you just to attack those challenges head on?
Yeah, big time. So for example, the not drinking thing, energy levels through the roof, better sleeping, right? You're just, with my daughters, I have more attention. I'm not as snappy back to them. Just, I'm a better human. I'm just able to kind of be a better version of who I want to be. Being in the office, using that as an example, it was those little opportunities that I found that you're able to catch, right? Yeah. You get sent something and you're already there. You're already doing it. You're investing more time into it. You're treating your business like a business. That was just a huge one. So, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you for sharing. And Shay, I want to just kind of talk about the impact COVID and the pandemic have had on your business. I know from my seat, and am the founder of the company. We've been at this for 7-8 years now, and we have 60 employees. We were forced to go entirely remote as a company, and it is worn on people. So now that you are running your team remotely, how has the pandemic impacted your business in regards to your habits, systems, and keeping your culture intact?
Sure. So for us, to be honest, it really, other than kind of having to navigate around how to do showings and all that stuff in the beginning, It hasn't necessarily impacted our business a ton. I think it's made us much more efficient and, helped us figure out where we can have efficiencies. So for instance, before we would always do buyer consultations in person with people. And now we're doing those over Zoom, both with our buyers and our sellers. And that's something we'll continue going forward. So, our intake process, and I am very systematized, anyone who hears me speak. So when we have a buyer or a seller reach out to us, because we're 100% referral based. So I don't buy leads from Zillow, Trulia, et cetera. I don't cold call. I don't door knock. I don't work for sale by owners. I don't work expireds. I have no interest in any of that. That sounds like putting a fork in my eye. It just sounds awful. I will never do any of that stuff. So we're completely referral based. So when a client comes in as a referral, we have a ready to buy or a ready to sell form that are on our website, which is buyselllovechicago.com if you want to check out the form there. So when that referral comes in, we immediately respond back and ask them to fill out that survey. And then we will set up a Zoom to talk with them. Because I think part of what happens as realtors is somebody calls us and we're in the middle of something. We feel like we have to pick up our phone and have this hour-long conversation with a new buyer at that time. And it's not a time that is good for us. And so I am very strict with my schedule. I will not schedule something with somebody if it is not a good time for me. So if they call, I'll say, I'm in the middle of something. Let me send you a survey to fill out. Then let's set up a time for us to talk. And so that was always part of our process. But then typically we would meet with them in person. So they would fill out that survey. We would get together and meet to follow-up questions. Now we do that via Zoom. And that's been much better because now I can have 5 clients back to back. And it's just much more efficient use of my time. So I think that will continue going forward. We're obviously using more tech in our listings. So we have a DJI Osmo pocket camera that's basically like a camera with a gimbal stabilizer on it. And so we're using that to do video tours of all of our properties, in addition to like Matterport tours, floor plans, photos, et cetera. So, I think the expectation going forward for buyers and sellers is going to be more tech available for showings for things like that. And how can you make their life more efficient? So we're doing a lot more virtual showings so that they don't have to come. In the beginning of COVID, that was for COVID. Now it's just convenience. If they're in the middle of their workday, we can show them through a property. They don't have to drive over. So I think it's about, taking the lessons you've learned from COVID and figuring out which of those make sense to use in your business going forward from an efficiency standpoint, but also from a providing better customer service experience to your clients.
Right. Fantastic. Okay. Let's get it. Thank you very much for that, both of you. Let's get into the tactical structure, the real meat of everything, and start talking about system, structure, process. Shay, who are the people on your team in terms of roles and responsibility?
Sure, absolutely. So as I said, we have 4 admins who assist us. So one is a transaction coordinator. She works the most. She works about 30 hours a week. Everybody on my team is remote. So unlike Matt, who likes to go into the office, I have no interest in going into my office. I prefer to work at home. I have pajamas on the bottom that you cannot see with my Zoom sweater on the top that I keep on my chair for Zoom calls, right? Like I don't have to leave my house. I don't want to leave my house, not because of COVID. I'm an introvert. So all my team works remotely. So we have the transaction coordinator for about 30 hours a week. We have our client concierge. So we tell our clients, she is your assistant during this entire process until you close on the home. So if you want her to get moving quotes for you, arrange for somebody to clean your house, carpet cleaning, if you want her to arrange for somebody to pack your house, unpack your house, we are here to make this experience as easy for you as possible. That is her job. So use her however you can use her. If you need a dog walker coordinated, she'll do that for you. So she works about 10 hours a week. The interesting thing about that is we have a lot of people who hire us because of her, but most people don't actually take advantage of her. So having her on staff helps us get more business, but it doesn't cost me a lot of time and money and hours. So she works about 10 hours a week. We have a marketing person who works about 10 hours a week doing our social media, our events, our pop buys, things like that. And then we have a runner who works about 5 to 10 hours a week who just does the boots on the ground stuff. So she drops off our flyers for open houses, drops off gifts to people, puts lock boxes on properties. She's the only person that's local. The other 3 are remote and they live all across the country. So I'm all about finding talent and the right people, and I don't care where they live.
How did you find your remote team members?
Yeah. So my first one, I found Craigslist. So she's the one who's local. And then the rest, it was just posting on my Facebook wall and saying, here's what I'm looking for. Do you know anybody? And finding referrals that way to find good people.
Fantastic. Same question for you, Matt. Who are the people on your team and what are their roles and responsibilities?
Yeah, so we have basically the 4 agents that are on our team. Everyone that joins the team is experienced. And then we have Carly, who's the main admin. She's been with me since the start. She's not going to go anywhere if she likes it or not, but she basically handles everything. She's full-time in person. And for us, that's where we're at right now. I love what Shay just went through, the client concierge. I absolutely love that. So yeah, no, but that's our structure.
Fantastic. And either one of you or both can take this next question. I'm just curious, how do you structure the compensation with the buyer's agents or listing agents on your team?
Yeah, so we're what are we? We are 60-40 for essentially everything, 40-60 for listings. And then if the team members brought in their own business, we're 70-30. So
got it.
So we're a little different. If I give the lead to the agent, it's a 50-50 split. And then I pay for all gifts, events, pop buys, stuff like that. But there is a per transaction fee of $250 per transaction that the agent pays to help cover some of the admin costs. If it's a lead they brought in, then it's a 60-40 split with them getting 60, me getting 40. That's changed over the years. Before it was just 50-50 regardless of where the lead came in. And then I found they weren't really very motivated to bring in their own leads. So by giving them extra money, if it's their lead, they're much more motivated to bring in future leads.
Oh, fantastic. So part of the description of the webinar, I explained that success doesn't come from doing something great once. And that goes for all areas of life. That is our health, our business, everything. It comes from doing the good things over and over again. We may miss on occasion, but it's the consistency that really matters. So a question for you, Shay, and then I'm going to ask you the same, Matt. What technology have you grown dependent on to run your business?
Yeah, so I would say there's 4 things. The first is my website. So I have a website through playster.com. So it's an NAR member benefit. It costs $99 a month. They're very easy systems to use. I am not techie in any way. Anybody who knows me knows I can barely use my cell phone, legit truth. My husband is like super techie and just rolls his eyes and is like, I seriously married a 90-year-old woman. Like, how is this possible? Because I can't use anything. I can't even figure out how to get my front doorknob security code to work, right? So if you can use Microsoft Word, you don't have to be techie at all. Playster is very, very easy to use. For any website you want to make sure you get a mobile responsive site so that people can look at it on their cell phone. For me, the website is really the hub of my business. So my thing is all about efficiency. How can I be more efficient, especially when you're a solo agent? So if I am answering a question more than once for a client, that gets dumped out of my brain and onto my website. So for instance, all of us are in a lot of multiple offers right now. So if I know I'm going to be in a multiple offer, I have a whole blog on my website about what happens in a multiple offer situation. What are your options, as is, price escalation rider, waiving inspection, appraisal, etc. I will send that blog post to my client. I'll text it to them and say, hey, they just called for highest and best. Here's what you need to know. Email me back the answers to these questions, and then I'll write the offer up to you. And that way I'm not having to have a 15-minute conversation with that person about what their options are in a multiple offer situation. Same thing about what is a pre-foreclosure, because we're getting a lot of questions about, are those available right now? What do I do? Can I cancel a contract after I go under contract? All of that kind of stuff gets dumped on the website. And then probably 100 times a day, we're pushing links out to clients to answer their various questions. So if you get a question more than once from a client, that should be on your website so that you can not waste that 10 minutes answering that question. Just send them a link. So that's the first thing. Second thing is Realvolve, and I'm not just saying that because I'm here. It really is a very important part of our business. We have workflows for each portion of the transaction. So when a client goes under contract, for instance, we have a 109-step workflow from when they go under contract to close. And we've been able to automate about 90% of those steps. So once earnest money comes in, we upload the check, copy gets sent out to everybody involved in the transaction. Everybody in the transaction gets a reminder the day before the inspection that the inspection's occurring. As soon as the inspection finishes, the buyers get a note saying you just finished your inspection, you're going to get your report tomorrow, here's what you need to do. So that's why I'm able to handle, 200 plus transactions a year with 20 hours to 30 hours of transaction management help, because we are able to automate all of that through Realvolve. Third thing is Slack. So if you have an assistant or you have a team, I find Slack incredibly helpful. We have a channel for every client in Slack that we're actively working with, plus like a marketing channel, events channel, baby gift channel, all that kind of stuff. So all of our communications as a team are in that channel. So if I put somebody under contract, I just upload it to that client's channel. I tag my transaction coordinator, and now she knows exactly what to do. So it's really cut down on, I don't get texts from my team anymore, and I don't get emails from my team. Everything is in Slack, and Slack is free. So the other thing to know about me is I'm super cheap. So, I like Playster because it's 99 bucks. I like Realvolve because it works well and it's not super expensive, and Slack is free. The fourth thing that I think is really important is Google Forms. We use a lot of Google Forms. So I already talked about our buyer and our seller forms for intake. So those are free Google Forms we use. Same thing like when we have a new listing coming in, we have a form we send them out that's very detailed. I want to know everything about that property, all the appliances, the ages, the brands. I want to know when they want to do showings, what their alarm code is, all of those kinds of things. And that is a Google form. So those are really the four things that are integral to my business that I could not run my business without, or at least I could, but I wouldn't do as much volume and I would want to kill myself because I'd be working a million hours.
Right. So I heard on the transaction side, you have 109 steps that you go through for every transaction. And of course, that is just some of the repetitive things that have to be done. But is that part of the experience that you provide as well?
Correct. Yeah. So we have set up our system. So like on the buyer under contract side, the buyers get an email from us every single day from contract through close through Realvolve that is essentially automated, that explains what the next step is in the process. I don't ever want a client to come to me and say, what's going on? What happens next? If that happens, then I have failed. I should have already given them that information. And when you talk to most buyers and sellers about how the transaction went, in general, they say that they weren't happy with their agent because they didn't get enough communication from their agent. So we've been able to solve that with Realvolve by making sure they're getting an email every single day that says, hey, you just finished this step. Now here's what comes next, and here's a detailed explanation. So we just finished inspection, next is appraisal. Here's what an appraisal is. Here's what happens if it comes in low. Here's what happens if it comes in high. And they're all short emails. They're usually one paragraph emails. And then they have a hyperlink to our website, to the blog post that explains that step. So that way, if they don't want to read it, they don't have to, but it's easy for them to click through to our website, which also gives us much higher SEO rankings because we have constantly people clicking into our website. So, that's for our buyer under contract. We have the same thing for current buyers who are out looking for properties. We have like 80 steps in that workflow. We have a prospective buyer, so somebody we meet who maybe isn't ready to buy yet, but wants to buy in a year. So then we're following up with them every month with content like, are estimates accurate? How can I increase my credit score? Just to get them ready to buy. On the sell side, we have the same thing. So our prospective seller workflow, we have a seller current. So that's from taking them from when they decide they want to work with you until their property goes under contract. Then we have a under contract seller workflow. Again, that's like 120 steps that takes them from under contract to close. And then we have a closed client workflow that's a 10-year follow-up campaign where clients hear from us every single month automatically for 10 years.
Wow, fantastic. I'm going to come back to you at the end of the webinar with some of those more questions. Matt, same question for you. What technology are you dependent upon to run your business?
Yeah, no. So website is Squarespace. I've spent 20 grand on a custom site with a back end that I had no idea how to use, just because it sounded like it was the right thing to do, and it was such a mistake. And then I found a Squarespace a number of years ago and basically built my whole website on that platform. Super easy, very affordable. And my admin now takes care of most of that, right? So inputting a listing, she's got the controls. And so for the website, that's what we use. And we do a lot of blogging on there and the SEO that they've got. And because it's someone else handling it, it is super mobile responsive, which is very important. And as well, SEO is just top notch. So that's a huge one for us. We also then integrate with G Suite as well. So, we use Gmail as our backend for our email system. And then Google Docs is very important. Just like Shay, we also send out, when we get a new listing, or we send out a questionnaire about, what we have a ton of different questionnaires. I love sending those out. So for example, we'll ask, a lot of disclosure stuff as well, and a lot of simple stuff. So has there been a death in the property? Has there been a water leak, right? Stuff that I can remove off my plate from having to ask, I can put it in here. Have you done any upgrades? Yes. Okay. Well, when were they done? What were they? Do you attach receipts, right? We can go really trying to automate and remove a lot of my plate. And then automatically it goes to the team and goes to the admin. So everyone's on the same page. So I love these forms, the intake forms. And we do the same thing for buyer, same thing for pre-list. These we loved, and we integrated them really well. Past that, Realvolve. Realvolve is our transaction management. We originally started using it as well for lead management, and we loved it. We were using it well, and then we discovered Firepoint, and so we've been using Firepoint now for a couple weeks. So we're still getting our gears going there, and it's been blowing our minds just with the ability to basically handle leads and to follow the whole process and the journey. And then we're also now going to be adding on YLOPO. So we're adding that whole kind of platform on as well. What else? Yeah, for us, those are probably the main big ones that we use. Obviously, awesome. Dropbox and Google Drive are the two that we use. We try and stay very virtual, even though we like to be in the office. Our jobs are never in one spot. So everything's digital and everything's available at all times.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Getting into some of the nuts and bolts of building and running a team, what we have found, us running a software company, we have our Firepoint application and our Realvolve application, and combined, we have, well over 10,000 agents on those platforms. And, we know that agents can, do up to 20, 25 transactions annually, almost by memory. But if you want to get into that 50, 75, 100, 200 plus, it's all about systems and processes. Otherwise, you cannot scale. So just curious, Shay, what mistakes have you made as a team lead, and what have you learned, going forward from those?
Yeah, I mean, that really is it, not having enough systems. And so having details start to fall through the cracks. I remember one where we closed on the property and I had forgotten to order the home warranty because I didn't have a system for that. And, the client had something break a couple days later and had no home warranty. And I felt awful. That's unexcusable, right? I had too many transactions and I didn't have systems. So, I covered the cost of their repair and then got them a home warranty, so you got to make things right when you screw up and admit you screwed up, but that shouldn't have happened in the first place. So, that's why we have these very detailed checklists now in Realvolve so that does not happen. But I think, beyond that is looking at what other areas can you put systems into place. So for instance, we have a very detailed gift system, for instance. So we have milestone gifts and transaction gifts. So milestone gifts are if a client has a baby, we have baby onesies that we send them that say, I got my crib from the Buy, Sell, Love Chicago team. And so, if I see that on social media, I take a picture of it, I put it in Slack, in our baby gift channel, tag my admin who sends that out, and now she knows who to send that out and get that taken care of. If they got a new dog, we send them some branded poop bag dog holders that we have, and we make a donation to their animal rescue group. If they had a death in the family, we typically send them a wind chime. If they got a new job, we send them some sort of congratulations card. So we have very structured gifts for that so that we don't have to spend time thinking about it, which some people say doesn't make it personalized. But, I find a lot of times you have the best intentions to send a gift out when you're trying to personalize it, and then you never actually send it out. This way it gets done very quickly. On the transaction side, when we do a Zoom call with a new buyer or a seller, immediately afterwards, we have set it up so that we have sherry berries, chocolate covered strawberries delivered ideally that day after the Zoom call so that they get them with a note saying, we look forward to working with you. Even though I'm referral based, it is very common in my market for me to have to interview with these people, and they're often interviewing 3 or 4 other agents. So I am not at all above bribing them with gifts to get their business, right? I think it's good business to do that. So we send them that. Once attorney review and inspection period is done and we've negotiated the inspection items, we send them two champagne glasses from Tiffany's, which cost $50, including free shipping, saying, congratulations, go have a drink and celebrate, like we're past inspection. We have a moving box program where any clients who have recently moved will reach out to them and say, hey, if you're done with your moving boxes, let us know. We'd love to hook you up with a client who's moving. And that way you guys can share your boxes, it saves that other person money. It's good for the environment. And again, that's automated through Realvolve. So we're not having to send those emails out. Then after closing, we have an email that goes out again through Realvolve that's automated a month before closing where they get to pick their closing gift. So they get to choose 4 hours of my handyman coming over, 4 hours of my cleaning person, a photo shoot at their house, a gift card to their favorite store, or during non-COVID times, we'll throw a housewarming party for them. So I think it's not just about systematizing the transaction, it's looking at every aspect of the business. So gifts, events, pop buys, how can you systematize all of those? How can you systematize following up with new leads? Every aspect should be systematized.
Right. Shay, another question for you. We perform a transaction for someone, and we spend all of this time building trust in that relationship, and then we move on to help other people, and that is normally with most agents, unfortunately, where the relationship ends, because agents are stuck on this hamster wheel of more and more and more as far as leads go. The research that I've seen from NAR is that upwards of 80 to 90% of consumers would rehire the agent they use to buy or sell another property, but we fall off, we lose contract. What have you found is the minimal effective dose to stay in touch with someone and maintain that relationship?
Yeah, that's literally the statistic I built my business on. My husband, as you had said, worked for NAR. He told me that day one of me getting into business. And to me, that's a communication problem. I am not communicating enough with those clients. So how can I fix it? So we do that a couple of ways. One, through Realvolve. I mentioned that 10-year follow-up program. So they're getting emails from us monthly, and it's not like, hey, here's a recipe you could find on your own on Pinterest. I find it has to be content that's helpful for them. So we don't send an email out to our clients unless it saves them time or money, or it helps them understand maintenance they should do to their house, because that's my area of expertise as a realtor, right? So we talk to them about how can they pay off their mortgage faster? How can they save interest on their loan? If, when interest rates went way down in December and January, we were hitting our database hard about, hey, you should be looking at refinancing now if your rate is above 3.75 or 4, because you could save a lot of money. So take a look at that. We'll talk to them about maintenance stuff they should do. So we have quarterly maintenance reminders that go out to them. And then we'll do seasonal stuff. So like in Chicago, in California, you don't have this, but you'll have other seasonal stuff. We have our pipes freeze because it's really cold. So when the temperature drops, we have an email we'll send out manually through Realvolve that says, hey, temps are going to drop really low tomorrow. You're in danger of your pipes freezing. Here's what you need to do. If you're not home, let me know, and I will get keys somehow from a neighbor or something, and I will go over and do it for you, because we want to protect your financial asset, your home. So thinking about that communication, in addition to those monthly emails, I think we should be doing 2 events per year. We always do 2 events. Even during COVID, we did. We always do at least 2 or 3 pop buys. So like for Valentine's Day, we dropped off hot chocolate bombs in front of everybody's front door saying, we just wanted to, show you our love, for supporting our business, that kind of a thing. And then I think there need to be personal check-ins. So we have in Realvolve, in addition to that 10-year campaign, an email comes to me at least usually 4 or 5 times a year, reminding me to check in with those people. And it's just a quick text of like, hey, how are you doing? Everything okay at the house? Can I help you with anything? Are you going to do any remodeling? Do you need service provider suggestions? So I think you have to be hitting them in all those ways. We also do mailings, postcard mailings at the end of every quarter, just showing what our volume was for that quarter. And then during non-COVID times, every other month, we do postcards that have a list of all the fun events coming up in their area. So I think you have to hit them from a multitude of channels.
Yeah. So you're staying omnipresent in front of your past clients, but those personal texts and calls just to check in on life, they go a long way. I've experienced it myself. So well done. Matt, you are running an organization. So 2 questions for you. What is your number one piece of advice for someone looking to start a team And then what should they be doing every single day thereafter?
Good question. So I think right off the bat, it's to realize that you can't do everything yourself and you're going to need to offload that. And that's where Realvolve was a huge help for us because it allowed us to systematize. And that's what Shay's saying. Oh my God, no one can say it better than she can. So, it's almost like, let's just watch the replay over and over again. So it's really just realizing you can't do everything by yourself. You have to get help. You have to get, I'm not an expert in technology, so I'm going to find someone who is. I'm better at doing X, not Y. So let's get someone who's better at doing that to help them out. And that's, I think I've seen a lot of agents making the mistake of not getting an admin or not, dipping their toe in finding someone to help them out. For me, that was how I really was able to build the Realvolve platform for myself into what it is, was because I sat there and we would work through with our team 100 pain points, right? So for a seller, what are 100 pain points that they go through for every transaction, every time they sell? And then we were able to kind of work around that and go back and develop some of the systems to help, smooth that out. Oh, you have to get a key made. All right, well, how can we help with that? Oh, you need boxes. Well, here, let's provide you with moving boxes, right? And it's just kind of going through that whole process, which was a huge help for us. What was the second part of your question?
What is the one thing a team lead should be doing every single day?
Working on not just selling, not just one thing, but working on everything. And they should also always be recruiting. I think you always need to have all of that going on at all times. But just like you're an agent, right? You're a hunter and you're a farmer. Well, it's the same thing with being a team leader. It's just, right. The activities that you're doing have changed.
Yeah. And something I have found personally is our idea of work. It's not just being at the desk or being on the phone. It's going for an hour walk during the day and thinking about some of the issues you have to work through. It's lifting weights to make sure that that is preparing your mind to deal with the demands of every day and every week. So Matt, you have spoke of habits, and being a leader is hard. What's the hardest thing you have found about being a team lead?
Honestly, everything's hard, right? We're all human. It's a change. We're doing something different than we were doing 5 years ago. And so just realizing that your roles changed, realizing that you've got people who count on you. Right. Those are some of the hardest things now. The pressure that you've got there alone can be difficult. Right. Our team members have families. Oh, it's 100% worth it because we share in the success. Yeah. Right. When a team member sells a property, there's like the joy that everyone feels. Like everyone knows on this call what that's like. That's an amazing feeling. You get to share in that every single time. Yeah. So, it's not even just selling a property, but it's the personal habits too. Right. Helping someone become a better person. That's what this is all about. And it's not necessarily just about selling. I don't care. Right. I don't care about that. I want you to be a better, happier person. That's my goal. That's my goal at the end of the day. So
that's what a leader is. Very, very well said. Shay, I know that you have been a speaker at multiple events around the country. I've done webinars all over the place. Just curious, what educational courses or conferences would you recommend for other team leads?
Yeah, absolutely. So I just finished up last week the Harvard negotiation program, and that was fantastic. It's a 2-week program done virtually because of COVID. Otherwise, in a non-COVID world, you can go in person. And it's to teach you how to be a better negotiator, both in your kind of personal and your professional life. That was the best class I've ever taken so far. It definitely, as soon as I hung up my last class with them, I had somebody call me and, we were doing a negotiation and he was just yelling and screaming. And I was, pulling in my training from the Harvard class to figure out how to deal with these kind of emotional things that were going on, So I think that's a great class. If you have the money to take it, it was about $2,500 or $3,000. For me, I didn't really go into it expecting to gain any knowledge, to be frank. I went into it because I wanted to be able to say on my resume when I met with sellers that I graduated from Harvard's negotiation program. And, and it's great for that as well, but it was really a wonderful learning experience to me. I think looking outside of real estate is the best place to find good training. To be frank, I think most real estate training is junk. I think most real estate coaches are junk. They've never never actually practiced real estate. Like, why am I going to take advice from somebody who's not in the trenches every single day? So I would say, look beyond real estate. And then just to go back to kind of something Matt said, and your question was kind of, as the team leader, what should you be doing? And I really think it's quality control. That is my job as the team leader, is quality control. So, we have 2 agents assigned to every client. So myself, and then either a buyer's agent if they're a buyer, or the listing agent if they're a listing selling. And every Monday I text every client that we're either looking for a home for, we have their property on the market, or they're under contract, and just say, happy Monday. Just want to check in. How are things going? I do the exact same thing every Friday, so that I'm always checking in with every client twice a week to make sure that they are happy and that things are going well. And then behind the scenes, I'm doing all the quality control to make sure nothing is falling through the cracks. So to me, that is my most important job, are sending those texts out each week.
Fantastic. Matt, as a leader of the org, you're typically your role is to be a rainmaker for leads. So how are you using systems to increase your lead generation?
Yeah, so for us, just continuing to do it, right? Like, so for example, a lot of our leads right now, up until we get the Wailopo stuff running, is really just through Google, through our blog. And so it's continuing to provide the articles and the website properties and the blogs and everything on there to continue it going. We also do a lot of agent to agent referrals. So I'm up in Canada, so we do a lot of agent to agent referrals up here, and then obviously down south as well. So it's just by continuously putting that in the pipe, right? It's part of the farmer hunter stuff, where we're always just trying to continuously keep on doing some of it and focusing on it.
And are you running Google ads through your Firepoint system?
We actually are, yeah. So we just got this set up about, I think I said like a week ago. So for us, it's all super fresh, and we're all still setting that running. And that's what's been really cool about our systems, is that we haven't had to explore paid leads up until really this point. This is now when we're saying, all right, we want to take this to the next level. We want to be more of a rainmaker. Let's really go into it. And for us, Firepoint's been just absolutely amazing on its own. And we're going to be jumping in with the PPC and Facebook stuff.
Fantastic. Thank you both. You've both been amazing guests. If anyone on the call would like to learn more about the software we've mentioned, Realvolve and Firepoint, and you'd like to just start a conversation, and we can learn more about what your needs are to see if we'd be a good fit for each other, a couple options for you. One is go to firepoint.net/demo. Alternatively, if you are really starting to scale your process with your repeat and referral and want a really solid CRM, go to realvolve.com/demo. Now, I've already seen questions rolling in, Matt and Shay, that of people wanting to get in touch with you. So if they want to learn more about you and your business, how can they find you?
Feel free to reach out. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. All you.
I was going to say, feel free to reach out on Instagram. It's just at Matt Richling. The team name is New Purveyors, or you can jump on my website, which is just mattrichling.com. And it's probably the easiest way. Shoot me an email, shoot me a text. Anything works.
And for me, I have a Facebook page. It's Shay, Hata, real estate speaker and coach. And so you can go there, and I try to post, every other week or so, kind of a tip to help you grow your business. So, that's a great place for you if you want to go back and look. I have links on there to my buyer intake form, seller intake forms, examples of pop buys and events that we've done. So definitely check that out. It's Shay, Hata, real estate speaker and coach.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both again for making time for us and for all the agents in California. We really appreciate it and hope to have you both on again. We're going to leave the chat open for just a bit so we can have some of our team members answer your questions. But thank you, everybody. Thank you, Matt, Shay. We'll talk with you soon.